Nigerian Senate has passed Tinubu'S tax reform bills. The Nigerian Senate passed the contentious tax reform bills proposed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at its plenary session on Thursday, after it was presented by the Senate leader Opeyemi Bamidele. Now, prior to its passage, the lawmakers held a closed-door session which commenced at exactly 11:43 a.m. and lasted over 1 hour to avoid a repeat of yesterday's rancor, in which some lawmakers protested against the entry of the president's tax team, led by the chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service (FIRS), in the person of Zak Adedeji, and the presidential tax consultant addressed the Senate. In his lead debate, Bamidele explained that the bill comprises of 43 clauses and 6 parts. He also added that the bill will protect small businesses and the poor will be exempted from tax payments, as well as a reduction in corporate tax from 30% to 25%. He urged the Senate to support the bill, noting that this bill should be seen as a required legislation needed to propel the Nigerian economy to growth, and urged the Senate to support the bill for second reading. Does this bill actually support Nigerians, and does it do all that they have said it would? Will the rights of Nigerians be protected, and will the poor actually be exempted from the payment of bill? The payment of tax. Nigerian tax are of 2 different types, the direct tax and the indirect tax. The poor, however, does not pay direct tax because most of them are unemployed by the government. But indirectly, the poor and the needy in the country pay high level of taxes, from the food they eat to the clothes they wear and the roof over their head. By just buying tomatoes and pepper, the poor pay high rate of tax, especially with the increased rates of prices in the market now. However, the government have promised that this bill will reduce the tax that the poor and the needy get to pay, and it will help to propel the Nigerian economy to growth, and urge senators to support the bill. The 4 tax reform bills, which are listed on Thursday, stood under the name of Senate leader Opeyemi Bamidele, the APC Ekiti Central. He says a bill for an act to establish the Joint Revenue Board, the Tax Appeal Tribunal, and the Office of the Tax Ombudsman for the harmonization, coordination, and settlement of disputes, amongst others. This bill and 4 others were presented to the House of Representatives and to the House of Senate for delegation and consideration. This bill, however, have been passed from one house to another, stating that it will be considered eventually. A bill for an act to provide for the assessment, collection of, and accounting for revenue accruing to the Federation, federal, state, and local governments, prescribe the powers and functions of tax authorities and for related matters 2024, and a bill for an act to repeal certain acts on taxation and consolidate the legal framework relating to taxation, and enact the Nigerian Tax Act to provide for taxation of income, transactions and instruments, and for related matters. Before it passed, Senator Ali Ndume, APC Borno South, rejected the bill, citing insufficient consultation, issues in the value-added tax, and derivation. According to Ndume, he says he's not against the reforms, but the problem is that the timing as of today is not just right, and he wants to add that this might be an issue of derivation because the Constitution has to be amended for some of the proposals of the bill to be affected. This bill, however, according to Ndume, should be withdrawn. He said they'll work on it and submit it back after getting the buy-one-in of the governors, National Executive Council, and the traditional rulers. However, senators, in the person of Senator Seraki Dixon and the chairman, Senate Committee on Finance, supported the bill to be read for a second reading. The bill was subsequently passed for a second reading after the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, ruled in favor of the ayes. This bill now has been moved from one stage to another. Nigerians are anxious to see whether this bill will be to their best benefits as promised by the government, or if it is just another plot to siphon money and make their pockets grow richer. For more current happenings and follow up on this kind of news, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like.